What's up, Spidey and Marvel comic fans? Today we're diving into the dark and sinister world of Spider-Man's most strongest villains. From the cunning Green Goblin to the symbiotic nightmare of Venom, we'll be counting down the top 10 most powerful villains that have challenged the web swinger throughout Marvel Comics history. Here at number 10 we have Rhino. Rhino isn't just strong but also huge as hell. This Russian mobster was handpicked for his mammoth size and modest intellect, then subjected to intense chemical and radiation treatments to morph into a superhuman behemoth. His armor, fashioned after a rhinoceros's hide, permanently melds with his skin, making him a walking rhino tank. Rhino boasts Herculean strength, effortlessly lifting about 75 to 100 tons, dwarfing even Spider-Man's superhuman strength. He charges into battle like a primitive animal and would cause an insane amount of damages to concretes, not to mention he's tough as nails, shrugging off high-caliber gunfire and extreme temperatures like they're nothing. And let's not forget his signature horn, perfect for skewering foes with finesse. While his suit may have evolved into a high-tech exoskeleton, Rhino's brute force remains very strong and destructive. And the next villain at number 9, we have Doctor Octopus. Octavius is a genius scientist who ends up with 4 mechanical arms fused to him after an experiment goes sideways. The accident left him with the ability to telepathically control the arms, and he soon became megalomaniacal, turning to a life of crime to fund and build dangerous inventions. Octavius's metal tentacles are capable of lifting several tons and can be operated separately, making him a very hard to deal with. If you're fighting him, you are basically fighting 4 ridiculously strong giant snakes and an intelligent mastermind. However, it's Doc Ock's intelligence that's the real game changer. Otto Octavius is usually considered one of the smartest humans in the Marvel Universe, and he puts that intelligence to good use when taking on the web-slinger, proving to be a superb strategist with an expert-level ability to mess with Peter's life. The next villain on our list, we have the living vampire Morbius. This guy is quiet strong and also very intelligent as well. Even before contracting vampirism, he already possessed a genius-level intellect, holding an MD and a PhD in biochemistry, making him an expert in hematology and a Nobel laureate. Experimental procedures transformed him into a vampire, granting enhanced senses such as greater hearing, taste, smell, and night vision. With talons capable of tearing through flesh and bone, Morbius boasts superhuman strength and advanced regenerative abilities that allow him to recover from fatal wounds over time. His psionic abilities enable him to hypnotize others and glide on air currents, complemented by specialized clothing for enhanced combat prowess and protection. Despite his affliction's lethal nature, Morbius has occasionally infected victims with a weaker form of his mutation, granting them enhanced strength and a thirst for blood. Also, he is quiet, creepy as hell. And the number 7 on this list, we have Electro. Known as one of the most flashy opponents in Spider-Man's list of villains, Electro's origin started when he was struck by lightning while holding live, high-tension wires and a reel of cable. Max Dillon gains superhuman powers as Electro. He can generate an immense amounts of electricity, enough to produce lightning arcs from his fingertips that could kill a normal human in a single touch. Charged to high levels, he becomes superhumanly strong and fast, capable of gliding over power lines and riding lightning bolts. With the ability to absorb energy from electrical equipment and store seemingly limitless amounts of electricity, Electro can manipulate magnetic fields, override electrically powered devices, and even travel through electrical appliances as a living thunderbolt. He is strong indeed. Same as this next villain on number 6, we have Sandman. Sandman is one of Spider-Man's oldest and most iconic supervillains in the comics history. Sandman was a thief who gained his powers from exposure to radiation, which allowed him to turn his body into sand. This transformation allowed him to become both impossible to touch and also hard as a rock when fighting back. When Flint Marko morphs into a colossal animated sand creature, Sandman becomes a force of catastrophic destruction. This can fluctuate based on the amount of sand Marco has absorbed into his body, making him one of Spider-Man's strongest villains if he's having a beach day. And on number 5, we have Green Goblin. Of course, no one will ever forget the evil genius nemesis of Spider-Man. The Green Goblin's powers are not just limited to his advanced gadgets. They stem from the potent Goblin formula, granting him superhuman strength, speed, reflexes, endurance, intelligence, and healing abilities. Initially, Norman Osborn only received a fraction of the chemical's power. Later versions allowed direct consumption, although slower in regeneration compared to other superhumans like Wolverine. Despite enhanced intelligence, his sanity is compromised, maintained through chemically treated dermal patches, but his involvement with the Gathering of the Five further destabilized his mental state. Armed with a plethora of bizarre devices, including his iconic Goblin glider, incendiary pumpkin bombs, and razor-edged razor bats, the Green Goblin is a formidable foe with cunning strategy. He could effortlessly dismantle foes with his enhanced strength, coupled with his cunning intelligence and nefarious methods. Next on this list is the black goo villain. We have Venom. Venom already made Spider-Man stronger when it bonded with Peter Parker, and it did the same thing when it bonded with Eddie Brock to become Venom. When it comes to his strength level, the symbiote gave Eddie great powers, though he could already bench a considerable amount in his human form. As Venom, he could lift up to 70 tons in regular size and could go possibly higher if he enhanced its size even more. Venom also recently got a power increase when Eddie Brock became the god of symbiotes, known as the King in Black, which further increased his strength. However, Venom and Spider-Man buried the hatchet years ago, despite their initial deep-seated rivalry. And probably the scariest among all of Spider-Man's villains, at the number 3 spot we have Carnage. This guy isn't just scary looking because his powers are downright terrifying. The Carnage symbiote is a spawn of the Venom symbiote who bonded with a brutal serial killer named Cletus Cassidy. Age was that much stronger. Like Venom, the symbiote gave Cassidy superhuman strength along with the abilities taken from Spider-Man. He was initially able to easily lift over 80 tons, which made him a challenge for both Venom and Spider-Man combined. However, Carnage's strength has increased over the years as his symbiote has mutated or changed. During the Absolute Carnage storyline, he bonded with the Grendel symbiote to become Dark Carnage. After the destruction of Cassidy's body, his consciousness survived inside the extrembiote armor from the King in Black event, which further increased his monstrous strength. And finally, at number 2, we have Merlin. Not only is this guy so strong, as he also killed a lot of Spider-Man variants in the comics that even Peter Parker almost fell victim to his relentless pursuits. Merlin has the power to travel between dimensions, and his goal is to hunt down all spider totems to consume and increase his power. He has a unique physiology that gives him many superhuman attributes, and this includes superhuman strength that could lift up to a whopping 20 tons. Even Peter Parker admits that while fighting him, it feels like he is battling the Incredible Hulk. Although Merlin's superhuman strength varies based on what he has fed on recently, as well as how powerful that source was, he's ripped apart an adamantium net with his bare hands when adequately fed. While he's only been around for a relatively short time, Merlin has already proven himself as one of Spider-Man's most brutal villains. And lastly, the most unstoppable and one of Marvel's most ridiculously strong villain to ever exist, we have Juggernaut. While he's better known as one of the X-Men's most powerful villains, Kane Marco has also faced Spider-Man a few times as the unstoppable Juggernaut in the comics. With superhuman strength of potentially limitless magnitude, his mystical empowerment from Cyttorak grants him unparalleled stamina, rendering him immune to physical fatigue. Invulnerable to conventional physical harm, Juggernaut's regenerative healing factor also gives him instant regeneration from even the most devastating injuries, making him virtually indestructible. Juggernaut is surprisingly immortal since he is immune to aging and is also immune to toxins and diseases. He is sustained by mystical energies, requiring no sustenance to survive. Juggernaut's only known weakness is his susceptibility to mind control, which is why he wears a headgear all the time. But with the ability to generate a force field and absorb energy-based attacks, combined with his unstoppable momentum once in motion, Juggernaut stands as Spider-Man's most strongest villain. And there you have it, folks. The definitive list of the top 10 Spider-Man's most powerful villains in the Marvel Universe. These villains have left an unforgettable mark on the pages of Spider-Man's history, challenging our favorite web-swinger at every turn. How about you? Who's your favorite Marvel comic villain? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more epic Marvel stories. And until next time, boo yeah.